Luther Burden deserves a ton of credit for, in that game against the Bills yesterday, again, against the Bills backups, doesn't really matter for these purposes. A lot of the criticism about Luther Burden was not on the field. It was attitude, it was desire, it was want to, it was all that kind of stuff, right? Twice on two separate rushing touchdowns, Luther Burden was down and dirty blocking. The first one, he blocked the one, like a DeMar Hamlin. Like he came in down blocked on the safety, buried him, absolutely decleated him, legitimate pancake, and caved in basically the entire right side of the line for the running back to walk in. I mean, that's the kind of block you tend to see from tight ends. It was a great block. Later on as well, the next rushing touchdown, same thing. He motions in, delivers a block, makes it at the point of attack. Running back comes in behind him. And Luther Burden's getting as many plaudits from his teammates as the running back was after that play. Like they're all going up to him, slapping his back, saying, great job. For a guy who the question mark was, desire, how is he going to do the difficult stuff? What's going to happen if the ball doesn't come his way? That kind of thing. I mean, that's the kind of want-to that a coach wants to see. So who knows if it's going to translate to the regular season or if Luther Burden's going to be a star or otherwise, but that is very specifically answering a question that many people did have about him.
Let's talk a little bit more about those rookie wide receivers. Besides Luther Burden, you mentioned Matthew Golden near the top of the show and seeing him in person. And you and I, we're both analytically driven, Sam, right? We're more about what you see on the field and the production and everything. And again, in an 8-hour trip, whatever we spent in the car, you can discuss evaluation philosophies or whatever else we wanted to discuss while we were listening to 90s on 9 on Sirius XM. So, which was fun throwback. So
until the interview.
Until they got why are they doing interviews on the music channel? Killing our flow while we were sitting in traffic leaving Chicago. Anyway, don't distract me. Mm-hmm. We've joked before about scouts saying, I got to see him in person. Got to see him in person, right? And we've discussed that a lot on the show. We love talking player evaluation, team building. How much do you weigh the in-person? I think that the risk of bias comes in if you only worry about performance, right? As you said, like what if I was at the game where the guy had 10 catches for 180? I'm going to weigh that more because I saw it in person. But we both came away from practice saying the important part might be just seeing the move, seeing the size, seeing the things that scouts say that they're going to see, right? Yeah. Got to see him move, got to see how he looks, got to see if he looks dynamic, got to see how he does all these other things. Luther Burden looked the part to me at practice, and Matthew Golden absolutely looked the part. And you and I were both lower on Golden, but quickness and speed definitely showed up, I think, on the practice field.
Yeah, well, one of the things we all said is, like, that guy did not look like a 4-3 player on tape. He kind of looked like a 4-3 player in person, though. Like, that was interesting. I think what it might be is you've made the point that, these guys are all super athletes. The only time it's really important to look at athleticism is when a guy is like below the thresholds of required athleticism completely, or like a 99th percentile athlete, right? Because those guys still matter at the NFL level. I think you can visually see those 99th percentile athletes, right? Whether it's Josh Allen standing next to Mitchell Trubisky, Anthony Richardson, same thing. Like some of the throws or some of the plays he makes are still visually insane. Or Matthew Golden with his, 4.29, whatever. I think you can still see those 99th percentile athletes. Now, again, that doesn't mean they're going to be good. It's just quantifying with your eyes that 99th percentile stuff, which you can also find elsewhere. So, like, the important thing is don't double count it, just confirm it. But I think that's what's happening there is the guys that jump off the field on a field of 90 super athletes are the guys that are in that 99th percentile.
So we mentioned Burden, mentioned Golden. Isaac TeSlaa does it again with another touchdown for the Lions on a double move. And he just looks like he's going to be a weapon. Mm-hmm. We've talked about him a ton, but is this a Brad Holmes did it again situation where they trade up, they clearly targeted TeSlaa, who's big, fast, with good hands, which is a pretty good starting point.
It is.
For a guy that was not incredibly productive in college, but when he did get the opportunity, didn't really drop any passes or very few passes, and created big plays and a unique story from where he came from his college path. But it does look like the Lions have another playmaker in TeSlaa.
Yeah, and
every week we say this now.
Right. I don't expect them to be like he becomes the second receiver in that offense or anything. Certainly not immediately. But yeah, he should be a factor this season. I mean, he's showing he's too good for backups at the moment, which I think, people will be like, yeah, he made the play against backups. Well, yeah, but if you're consistently making plays against backups, that means at the very minimum you belong running with the first team unit, right? Whether you're still going to make those plays with the first team unit is up for debate, and we don't know that yet until it happens. But logically, if you're consistently wrecking backups, that means you're too good for that level. So you need to be pushed further. That's what he's doing right now. He's consistently making plays against the second string unit. So let's see how much of a role he will have with the first team.
And it's another situation where with receiver, if players have weaknesses, they're easier to hide at receiver.
Right.
It's easier to accentuate strengths. So if his weakness is, all right, go play X and beat press coverage and get open, go get him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if TeSlaa is going to be that guy in year one. But if it's, hey, show toughness over the middle, which he has, use your speed and size to make plays or win a couple jump balls here and there. I mean, there's a role for that in this Detroit offense. He doesn't have to be the high-volume player. You already have Jameson Williams. You already have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You already have Sam Laporta. You already have a good run game. They have plenty. Now it's just another difficult to cover, difficult to deal with skill set, speed and size for the Lions. So I think there's a role for him in year one. What does that look like? It might be 30 catches for 500 yards. But that's, I think, where we are with TeSlaa right now. So I don't know if he's, hey, go pick him up in fantasy right now. Maybe in Dynasty. Right. I don't know if you pick him up in fantasy for this year necessarily. But is he going to help the Lions win this year? I think there's a role there for TeSlaa behind those top guys. Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. Emeka Egbuka, another really nice touchdown from Teddy Bridgewater. I'm encouraged for high school coaches across the country and inspired for them that they could just come in, go to a preseason game, throw a couple touchdowns like Teddy
after
Bridgewater.
After being suspended,
yeah. Right? If you're a suspended high school coach, just join the Bucs. Become a backup NFL quarterback. Emeka Egbuka looks good again.
It's kind of a lost art in journalism, the George Plimpton thing. Just go and become a Lions backup quarterback and write a story about it. I feel like we should employ you in that regard. Let's just go get Steve a few reps at offensive tackle for somebody.
At offensive tackle,
write about it.
Why can't it be quarterback?
I mean,
please give me a red jersey and not put me at tackle. Or give me a red jersey at tackle. Then we can see how I do.
I don't think you've got the arm for quarterback anymore. Although that being said, you do throw a football significantly harder than you throw a baseball.
I might throw both a baseball and a football 74 miles an hour. Yeah, I might have.
Might be true.
Because what happened is you need more external rotation and scapula flexibility for the baseball.
You don't throw a baseball.
I may have my lack of flexibility may have morphed into a better football.
For a very tall former pitcher, borderline, big leaguer. You do not throw a baseball very hard anymore, but you do throw a football remarkably powerfully.
Thank you.
Yeah. Not accurately, but incredibly powerfully.
I hit the target. I had a couple good ones. Yeah. Wait till we'll train for the NFL experience for next Super Bowl.
Egbuka's touchdown was excellent. It was one of those ones where it's like the ball's got to go basically through a defensive back for him to catch it, and he tracked it through the guy. He kind of went down around him and made the play.
Egbuka, so we did our wide receiver rankings during the draft and going through Egbuka's tape, and I started to kind of sleep on him as a player. Thought I knew what he was after just watching him for a couple of years before you rewatch him and go through the film and everything. And he just continued to grow on me, and I'm like, this guy's just going to be a really good, productive pro. And I think you're already seeing that, the rumblings from training camp, what we've seen in games. It's tough to describe the exact way that this happened. It felt like Egbuka was not just QB friendly, but almost elicited the best throws out of his quarterbacks. We've seen him play with Kyle McCord, saw him play with Will Howard, and saw him play with C.J. Stroud a few years ago. And it felt like even when Egbuka only had a step, that the quarterback was giving him good throws, which normally you're like, oh, he's the beneficiary of a good throw. But Egbuka just knew how to late hands, win at the catch point. I don't know. There's a QB friendliness about him as well, like I said with Tyler Warren, that allows quarterbacks, I think, to put the ball where they want, and he goes and makes the play. And he's not this big-bodied, contested receiver. I just think he does a lot of the little stuff well. The route running nuance, the after-the-catch nuance, the catch point nuance. I think Egbuka's just a really good football player. So I keep coming back to this was not an on-paper need for the Bucs other than Chris Godwin coming off of injury. But I think Egbuka being both an impact player this year and the future for the Bucs is huge. And this is with Jalen McMillan, by the way, took a nasty fall on his head early on. He says he's okay, but that's just something to keep an eye on. And our guy Tez Johnson, by the way, later on against backups, showed the same nimble quickness that he always shows. Not speed, but the quickness. I think he has a chance to have some opportunities. The Bucs just loaded at receiver, and Egbuka continues to impress.
Yeah, I mean, Egbuka's interesting because I don't know that there was a more kind of consensus draft pick than Egbuka. Everyone read him the same. Everyone basically thought he was the same in terms of how good he was. The question was simply, how valuable is that? And he's fascinating. Like, the difference between him and Tyler Warren, they do a lot of similar things in terms of they're very good, quarterback friendly, et cetera, et cetera. The big difference between the two, though, is that Tyler Warren was, like, obviously the best player on the field every time he was out there. Egbuka may have never been the best player on the field anytime he was out there during his entire college career, and usually, in fact, was at best the second best wide receiver on his own offense. And so you have this weird tension between, well, this is what elite looks like. It's the other guy within this offense all the time throughout his entire college career. But that doesn't mean this isn't good. And if he's consistently very good, and again, the certainty that he's good is very high, how valuable is that? Like, how much of a question mark of elite should you chase rather than just take the guy that's definitely good? And that's the debate you're in the first round. Like, do you go for a Matthew Golden who might be elite, but it's a very big might? Like, there's a very small sample size of Matthew Golden looking like an elite player, but there's a massive sample size of Emeka Egbuka being a good player. Now, maybe he'll never be any better than good, but like that is essentially the debate: the certainty of good versus the question of elite. And I think it was an interesting debate, case study analysis. But Egbuka still looks good.
A couple other rookie receivers to mention. I know it's tough to mention all of them. Let us know in the chat who stood out to you. I see Jackson Meeks getting some love from Lions fans as well. Caught all 7 of his targets as well. I don't know if there's room for everybody on the Lions. Trey Harris.
Yeah.
Had a nice...
more of a role this week.
What's that?
More of a role this week.
A really nice deep ball. Both him and Keandre Lambert-Smith caught deep balls from Trey Lance. And Harris had 6 catches for 85 yards. I thought he was pretty good. But the big one was the deep ball, tracked it well and caught it. What did you see from Harris?
Yeah, I mean, I think both weeks. Like the first week, he didn't. Or the first week, whichever the first game, they've played 3 games.
They've played 3 now. You've got Hall of Fame, then week 1.
So
week 2.
I think certainly I think the Hall of Fame game. Like, I went looking at every single route that he run because I was like, why wasn't he a bigger part of this offense? I think he was still getting open. The ball just didn't come his way for whatever reason. The ball came his way more in this game. I mean, he looks pretty good. Like, he's reasonably dynamic. Now there may be, an opportunity to be won there even more because Quentin Johnston ended up getting knocked out on that deep ball, which is obviously unfortunate for him. And it's probably, these days, that's probably like a 2-week type of deal. So there's a 2-week window for these rookies to really steal some reps and show that they can be a bigger part of this offense. And unfortunately, because of Quentin Johnston's career so far, like, his grasp on that role is very tenuous anyway. So if these two guys are able to show that they can be impact players right away, Quentin Johnston may return to be fighting for his job.
So Trey, with Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, I think just adding a downfield component from either of those guys or both of those guys, huge for the Chargers with Ladd McConkey doing a lot of the dirty work. And then undrafted free agent Patriots wide receiver Efron Chism III. That was Kalen Kaler's prospect. That was the
Prospect
secret.
X?
Yes.
This year?
I think it was.
Okay.
I don't know if I went back and read all that. I think that's.
I thought that wasn't that the Montana State kid.
Oh, maybe
the guy that is now is he a slot receiver?
Oh, you know what it was? People were guessing Efton maybe.
Chism.
Anyway, Chism's been tearing it up at Patriots camp.
I never confirmed that, by the way. Just to me, it read like the Montana State guy.
It may have been. I don't know, but we'll cut that out of the show. Efron Chism with 6 catches. Dominant, man. I mean, he takes a little, short pass, running through guys for a touchdown, work in the middle of the field. In an offense, by the way, in New England with Josh McDaniels, where his role, that the shifty slot receiver, may still exist. We talk about this all the time. Finding the skill set of the slot receiver who's good on option routes, who's good underneath, who's got some toughness, catches the ball over the middle. Identifying that skill set's not difficult. Identifying where that skill set's going to fit in the NFL consistently within the way offenses are built right now is difficult. But maybe in the throwback Josh McDaniels, throwback to like 2007,
right?
There is a role for Efron Chism in the middle of the field as a slot receiver. He looked good.
Yeah, I mean, it may be one of the few offenses in the NFL where that specific role may very well still be a thing. So, yeah, I mean, it absolutely capitalized on opportunity. Looked good, looked shifty, looked fluid in his movements, showed good hands. It was a good game.
The challenge with all of these players, Jackson Meeks of the Lions included, with his, I think, 7 catches, is going to be, all right, where do they fit in? We're talking about wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6 for a lot of these players. And then that question becomes, what do they do on special teams? Like, to make the roster, you have to do something else. But, yeah, Chism definitely looks like he's got an opportunity to make this New England roster, despite having – they've got some depth, right? They have some players above him. But if you just keep playing and keep making big plays, it's tough to keep you off the roster.
But also a totally wide open, wide receiver depth chart. Like, again, jobs are there to be won in New England. So if he keeps doing that, he's got a chance. One
other name I just wanted to highlight, Dante Thornton, again, running with the ones with the Raiders. He didn't have any catches. But Geno Smith gets out there. He throws a downfield pass to Brock Bowers for a 28-yarder, and he was chucking it down the field to Dante Thornton as well. I think every now and again there's this balance in the preseason between we're going to try some stuff and there's a little bit of signal to like how the offense is going to run. I don't want to overrate a couple throws here. I feel like Geno Smith's going to bring some aggressiveness to this Raiders offense. They brought, and we're going to talk Ashton Jeanty in a minute here, but they brought some unique playmakers to that offense. Jeanty at running back, Thornton at 6'5", running a 4.3. They just brought some speed, some power, and this difficult to tackle, difficult to cover type of players. And if Geno Smith, who's pretty aggressive, man, we've seen him make some nice comebacks. We've seen him throw some absolute dimes down the field. If he brings some aggressiveness to this offense, there's some volatility there that makes the Raiders dangerous.
Yeah.
And just a couple throws from Geno Smith has me thinking him and Chip Kelly are going to attack down the field and put some pressure on defenses. That's with Thornton coming away with no catches, but just watching how this Raiders offense was operating.
But, again, the signal, where is the important part of information? Again, running with the ones, which he's been fairly consistently throughout preseason, training camp, et cetera. That first deep shot had a chance. I mean, he beat Lenore off the line. He was open. He stacked him. Lenore got back into it, and the throw didn't necessarily give him that much of a chance. But and the second one, he didn't win. But he's got a chance. I mean, anytime, again, which is the most important skill of all this? Getting open with a chance of a 50-yard play is a very important skill, particularly when you're 6'5" and you can run extremely fast. That is a big play waiting to happen. And Geno Smith is one of the most one of the quarterbacks in the NFL, I think, that will covet that the most and would take advantage of that. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit this subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
The all-knowing algorithm is convinced that you'll like these videos as well, and frankly, who are we to argue?